Hi, mate.
All right. Step in. Yeah. Would you prefer all them phones under that ledge? Yeah. Thank you. Timmy's going to set you off. Yes. And then, you ready at the back? All good with count?
Paul, you okay?
Good, mate.
Can we start with the injury to Chris Basham? How is he? Have you spoken to him in the last few days? And can you update us on the bigger picture with injuries? John Egan, Tom Davis, what are we looking at in terms of timelines on these injuries?
Yeah, but Bash first and foremost. Yeah, he's still in hospital, so he's going crazy inside those four walls. He's had a couple of operations which were needed and necessary. So hopefully he'll be getting home to his family in the next few days. But like I said, they release you when they're ready, don't they? So as it stands, he's in the right place. They're monitoring him, making sure everything's okay. And the moment that they're happy for him to go, he'll be back up home with his family. Yeah.
And what about the other injuries?
Yeah, the others. Listen, it was a shocking week for us in terms of injuries. So the other two have had operations as well. Yeah, so they're going to be out for a long time until they're back fit. So yeah, I think you could see John's in the game. He was jumping for header. Tom's was, we've got him to a point where he was ready to go, and literally the last kick of a ball in training, he's caught the floor and he's hurt his thigh. So yeah, a bad week for us in terms of injuries.
You've faced a lot of challenges already this season. So how do you deal with this latest challenge with all these injuries? Do you have to channel the adversity in a positive way?
Yeah, listen, it's it's a nightmare in terms of the injuries, and because we were behind in terms of squad numbers when we start the season. I just felt we were getting to a point. We made the signings by the end of the window. One or two needed to get up to speed, and we were getting there. The last international break, we got 3 injuries, and then we've just had these 3, and it sort of put us back to square one, if you like. So, yeah, if we're honest, it's far from ideal. But we've been here before, as you say. We've had moments last season, beginning of last season, where it was similar. So it's an opportunity for others. And we have to use that. Yeah, we have to use that that determination. The boys who are getting the opportunities have to be determined to then stay in the team. I think what's hurting us is the length of these injuries. We've still got players out from last season who had big injuries, and then we get these more big injuries. That's what's hurting us. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that until January, So, yeah. Now I know the boys are all okay, and it's a case of starting their rehab. We can't lose any focus about what has happened. It's all about these next few months until we get into a position where we can do something about it.
And next up, Manchester United. Does a win against United on Saturday night have a transformative effect on your season?
Maybe the feeling about it, but it won't. It's 3 points. I think we know what we're in for this season, and yeah, we're up for that fight. We're going to be in our own little league, if you like, at the bottom. That's fine, unless we can change that around by positive results. But so, yeah, I think all it does, it changes the mood. It's a reward for the effort of the players. I think that's all it is. We can't look beyond that. But yeah, we'll be fighting and giving all we can to get those 3 points, and then see what that does.
Thank you. Just on injuries, whenever the discussion has been about Bash in the last week or so, the supplementary fear is that might be the end of his time playing. Is there any news or any indication that he will play football again?
Listen, I think one thing you say about Bash, and I bet anyone who's worked with him, especially if they've managed him, will know how fit he is, and naturally that's his gift. Like he's blessed with really good endurance. He'll come back, he's fit as a fiddle. That won't take long. The surgeons are really happy with the work they've done, so yeah, there's no reason whatsoever. I think when we're looking at these injuries, when people are having operations on serious injuries, it's just the length of time they're out, that's it. But yeah, no one at all is thinking that way, especially not Bash. So yeah, like I said, everything's gone as well as it can. I think with an injury of that nature, everyone talks about it. One, because of how freakish it is, and two, because of how horrible it looks. But you still get surgery, you still get treated the same way off them, and once they're happy with the work, it's all about the rehab.
I know, obviously, Tim mentioned Egan as well, but there's Davis as well who fell. Is the prognosis with him still months?
Yeah,
before he plays again?
He's needed an operation as well, and he's really down. He's worked really hard. He was in a position where he was ready to go. Yeah, it's a blow, but what can we do about it? Nothing. So this is where we have to get tighter together, and everyone else give that little bit extra to make sure we don't miss those players, because they are big players for us. We can't hide that. The big personalities, big players. But we have to carry on regardless, and like I say, everyone needs to step up and fill those voids.
Baldock, any good news?
Yeah, so George is getting closer. George is getting closer. Ozzy's been back in, doing a few days with us this week. So one or two coming back, which is good.
Sorry to interrupt. Any in relation to Man U to being involved this weekend, or is it still?
Yeah, well, I would like to think that George, maybe not. Ozzy, yeah. Listen, we're low on numbers, so if there's a chance we can get them there, even if it's they're on the bench for the last 10-15 minutes, if it's not going to harm them, we'll be using them. Like I said, I think the blow for us has been how long certain people have been out, and that's something. It's across the board. You can imagine how frustrated I am with it, and you ask questions, point the finger to get answers. Because we can't just accept it across the board, and there's a lot of clubs with these injuries, and they're seeing it when they go away, they're international clubs, and because there are still one or two who are far better off, and imagine the advantage they've got over a club like us who are suffering. So we have to look into it. It's something that was discussed in the summer with the board about how can we improve that area, and we need to keep looking at it, because like I say, we would love to be one of those teams who aren't significantly hampered by it.
Twofold question then on the back of that then. From Sheffield United's perspective as a club then, what conclusions have you kind of drawn when you've thought about it? And secondly, I suppose, within the game, those themes, what conclusions are being drawn?
Well, conclusions being drawn in the game is too much football, that what the players' bodies are being asked to put up with, ultimately result in a lot more injuries than we used to have. So many more games, so much more travel, and so many more minutes played per game is having a big impact. From our own point of view, we found this the start of last season when we picked up some freak injuries, and it meant we were low on numbers. It puts an extra load on the other players. We had that at the start of this season again. We thought we'd got to the bottom of it last season. You look at from March, April onwards, our numbers and the health of our group significantly improved. We were on the bottom pictures. We were thinking, is that one box ticked? But we've come back with similar. Like I said, 3 getting injured the last international break, 3 more significant ones. We've carried some more longer ones over from last season. So it's something I don't think you can accept. You have to keep looking to get that advantage. If we were one of the teams here just sat with 1 or 2 injuries, we'd have a massive advantage over everyone else.
Without wishing to sound maybe daft, the calendar has obviously changed quite a lot in the last couple of years, hasn't it? There's the World Cup, and before that, COVID.
Yeah, listen, it is, but then everyone's situation is different. So we're in a league now where we're playing less football than last season. Yeah. We've got a lot of players travelling around the world in international breaks and coming back injured. So has that changed? But where we as a team are playing less games, in those games the intensity's gone up and the minutes have gone up. That could be an issue for us. If it was that easy, everyone would have the answer. So the logical answer is there's a lot more football played, a lot more travel, a lot more minutes per game. But within that, you have to find a way of limiting those injuries. We can't bash Lowy standing on a sprinkler, Tom, the mechanics when he kicked the floor. We've had lots of things, which have been, you would class as bad luck, but we've had others where the length of time players are out. It's not fair on players to be putting yourself at that risk.
Forgive my ignorance on this. What are the kind of rules should you want to, and I appreciate this is slightly leading, bring somebody in from the academy or a free agent type about getting them into the 25-man squad for the rules like that?
The underage is fine. You can have as many as you want. into 25-man squads a little bit different. Listen, I'm asking questions about how certain clubs have managed to sign players when they've got more players than us. Whether they feature or not, we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, it is still a bit of a grey area. As much as it's black and white in writing, how that's then applied seems a little bit grey to me.
Well, that's football, isn't it? Captaincy. What are your thoughts about that going forward?
Listen, we need 11 captains. 100% do.
The figurehead.
Yeah, well, that's almost becoming irrelevant to me. I'll be honest about that. We had Eags, so obviously your captain's gone, your vice captain's gone. I almost feel like naming one and making it as if it's really important that one. No, we need more than that. We need more players. So, yeah, it's something that we're speaking about, that type of thing. We've got natural ones in there, got lots of experience in there, who's done it before. But I don't just want it to be seen as the armband and that's all that comes with that role. I want a lot more from it. So, yeah, I think there's more to what that looks like Monday to Friday than on a Saturday afternoon.
A couple of final points from me. What's been the kind of key priority throughout the international break, away from the treatment table, to get the players into the right mental space to go at it again?
Yeah, lots of things. So working on how we want to play, how we're going to approach the game, the big one. Trying to make that as clear as possible, and then having ways to show the players who have been away that. Preparing those players who are coming back, who are going to be needed, but maybe only for a short, whatever that time allows, because they're not up to speed yet. Making sure that if and when they're needed, that we know exactly how we're going to prepare to use those players. That's a big thing, because we still need to use the full 5 subs if possible. Because that's been a big standout thing for me and the staff when we've been in games and our changes and some of the weapons that other teams are bringing on or money they're bringing on has been, really, really apparent. So we have to get the most out of our changes, and so that's been a big thing as well.
Just finally then, clearly the match, Manchester United. Of the 8 matches, won 4, lost 4. How formidable a challenge are they this Saturday?
Yeah, I think they are, because I don't know how much anyone's seen of them, but they can be a team that are difficult to live with no matter who they're playing. So we have to prepare for that. And then the flip side of that is I've seen teams thinking they're getting on top and get the better of them, and they've got so many players with a little moment of genius and they win the game. So, yeah, it's going to be a game of 9,500 minutes concentration needed. And at the same time trying to impose ourselves as much as possible, So, yeah, we have to prepare for, like I say, for a long game, a tough game, and be completely switched on, because regardless how well we're doing, we've seen it, not just this season but last season. They've got so many players who in one moment can create an opportunity, score a goal.
So,
Paul, how do you prepare for Manchester United with the revolving door of players that you're having to deal with at the moment due to various circumstances, the different players they've been putting on the field because they've had injury problems, and obviously pressure that their manager seems to be dealing with as well now? Is it a case more of focus on what Sheffield United do well on the pitch, or do you have to cater for where their strengths are? Yeah,
both. So regardless, you could have a good guess at what the personnel may be and the 11 they may put out, but I think what's easier to prepare for is the style and how they've tried to approach games regardless of who the personnel's been. So that's what we'd focus on. And then it's around what we're going to do and how we're going to prepare for the game, what our setup is, what it looks like with the ball, without the ball. So that's been the main focus.
And do you look on the games against Manchester City, Everton here? I know everybody obviously looks with a grimace at what happened against Newcastle, but here at Bramall Lane against some of the better teams, you've been very competitive. And speaking to Anil Ahmedhodzic earlier today, he felt perhaps you'd been a bit unlucky as well.
Yeah, we could easily be sitting here with more points with how we've conceded, when we've conceded, and likewise moments the other way, how we've not scored in the last few minutes. So we could easily, but I keep saying it, that's the nature of the league. No one's going to give us anything, so we have to make sure that we are in the best possible place to seize those moments, whether you take the lead, whether you're staying in the game, you need to make sure you can capitalise on those moments. And we could have had more points, of course we could, but we haven't. So we have to keep making sure that we prepare properly, approach the game in the right way. Back to your point, whoever comes to Bramall Lane, we want to try and win the game. And we could have easily won 1, 2, 3 of those games, but we haven't. So we have to accept that, understand why we've not, and make sure that next time we're in that type of position, we can take it.
Thank you.
Good stuff.